Ready?
I'm sure.
Josephine. All right, thank you for coming. Welcome to our August 13th council meeting. I'm showing that it's 7:33 p.m. Mrs. Arcisi, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Darrow. Here. Mr. Engel.
Here.
Ms. Hannikin. Here. Mr. Molnar.
Here.
Ms. Toller. Here.
I would like to now ask us all to stand. Remove your hats, please. As Council President, Rita Darrow leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Resident Terry Hudak will lead us in prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, I humbly come before you this evening to ask your blessings bestowed on the mayor and his family, and for the council and their families, also for the board members, dear God, and for the fire and for the police department who give their lives for each and every one of us. And dear God, you did not make us a robot. You gave us our own free will and our own free mind. You gave us the 10 Commandments to live by. You also said you do unto others as you have them do unto us. And you love one another as I love you. And I thank you, dear God, for your Son Jesus dying on a cross for each and every one of us. And Father God, again, I ask blessings bestowed on each and every one and all of our families here. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Terry. All right, next on the agenda, we have minutes. We have 4 sets of minutes. Do you want to do them individually, Josephine? Or can we do them together if we have?
Mr.
No,
Mayor,
same.
Mr. Mayor, because of receiving this large volume of minutes, I'd like to hold these because I'm not prepared to deal with them until the next council meeting. We have quite a number of them this time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Oh, so
We
we
got
want to hold
no.
all the minutes so she can finish reading them.
Ms. Darrow.
Yes.
Mr. Engel.
Yes.
Ms. Hannikin.
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Toller.
No, I read them all. It doesn't take that long to read.
Next, we have on the agenda acceptance of our financial report. Do I have a motion, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the financial reports and the ones dated June 30th and July 31st, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All
Mr.
right.
Mayor, if I could just make one comment. There were several accounts in there that I have questioned based on the percent use, knowing that we're sitting at somewhere at 85% and higher, one of which is workman's compensation. Working with Janelle and then the department heads will make sure that we put together what is needed for legislation so that we don't hit 100% and we're only into September. Chief Golden, one of them that stuck out like a sore thumb is the fact that the prisoner meals was at 86 or 87%. So take a look at every line item within each department's budget to see where we're at with it, and then for the next meeting, have some adjustments.
All set? All right, next section of our meeting is comments by the public. We ask that you please sign in when you're going to make comments. This evening, we have 4 people signed in. I will call you by name. Please come to the front microphone, state your name and address, and please hold yourself to 5 minutes, and John Golden will be keeping track of that. Thank you. Number 1 is Bev Sexton. Bev?
Good evening. In order to clarify the procedure for the sale of property
on Highland Point Parkway, parcel number 3310736. We hired an attorney, Warner Mendenhall, who is located in Akron, to review all of the associated documentation. I would like to read some excerpts from his letter to Mr. Joseph Diemert regarding his review of the documentation. I have an extra copy. Does anyone need one?
I'll put it on part of the file if you
Okay.
so I don't have to write it.
Macedonia is listed as owner-trustee of the property on the Summit County Fiscal Office property card, Exhibit A. The deed shows Macedonia as the grantee trustee under a settlement, Exhibit B. The 2002 settlement agreement shows Macedonia is the trustee and a beneficiary of the trust, Exhibit C. He goes on to say, I reviewed the minutes of the April 9th council meeting, which indicate that Councilor Hannikin questioned Mr. Hankelek if the sale agreement has to be approved by council, to which he answered that it does not, because Macedonia does not own the property. Mr. Hankelek's statement has no basis in law. Your charter states the city shall be operated under Ohio law, where the charter is silent on an issue. He references Article 2, powers of municipality. No clause in the charter allows Macedonia to deviate from the real estate sales process set forth by Ohio law. He refers to the Ohio Code of 721.03, which refers to no contract except as provided in section 721.28 of the revised code for the sale or lease of real estate belonging to a municipal corporation shall be made unless authorized by an ordinance approved by a 2/3 vote of the members of the legislative authority of such municipal corporation. When the contract is so authorized, it shall be made in writing by such board or officer, and the board or officer may reject any bids and re-advertise until all such real estate is sold or leased. He says in his letter, it is my opinion that the property can only be sold to the highest bidder after a 2/3 vote of council authorizes the sale, followed by advertisement once a week for 5 consecutive weeks. And he welcomes Mr. Diemert's analysis and response due to the potential sale.
Will there be a response coming, Mark, from Mr. Dean?
I'm sure there will be. I haven't read Mr. Mendenhall's letter, but this is, I mean, if I can just make a comment, from my understanding of the situation, the property is held in trust by the city. The city never owns or currently owns the property, so it's a little bit of a different situation. And another primary consideration here is the fact that there's a court order for the sale of the property, so this isn't a traditional situation where those provisions become into play. So, but I'm sure Joe's gonna be responding.
All right, and maybe you can move the mic a little closer so we make sure everybody hears you. All right, thank you, Bev. Next is Joe Scarupa.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Scarupa, South Bedford Road resident. I'm going to expound a little bit on Beverly's comments. We have come to this council and talked to individual council members. Since January, we have posed the question whether council needs to vote on this property sale or not. And even Sylvia Hennigan has asked that question, and we have received 2 different answers. One time it's yes, and another time it was no. And these are documented in council meeting notes. So obviously there's a contradiction and an uncertainty within the own law department that you all work with. So since we have never received an answer in chapter and verse about whether this can be sold with or without council's approval. We've taken it upon ourselves, the residents of the city of Macedonia. We've taken the initiative, of which we have not received from the city, to clearly define whether this can be sold without council approval or with. We submit this document to council for them to act on, for them to make the sale approved or not approved regarding this property. We would like you to act on this. This is a very thorough review. And since the law department here is also contradictory in sometimes, I think this opinion of this lawyer should stand, and council should vote on the sale of the property at the time it comes up. Thank you.
All right. Next is Bill Romer. Bill?
Good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here again. I couldn't go a whole year without being here. 3616 Southern Road in Richfield, Ohio. I represented Macedonia and all of Summit County for 4 years as a county council person at large. In 2011, I proposed what I felt was a fair redistricting process. Summit County was required to redistrict as a result of the 2010 census. What I did at that time is I tried to keep all communities together, not split communities, make sure the communities that have relevant interests, commonality of interests, remain together. And unfortunately, this was voted down 9-2. At that time, unfortunately, also Bath Township was split between 2 county council districts. Currently, Akron has 6 county council districts representing portions of it, and Cuyahoga Falls, believe it or not, is split into 4 different county council districts. What I did then is worked with a committee, the relevant people from this area. Rich Ravel is our treasurer. He's a trustee in Northfield Center. And Rosemary Snell, former trustee in Sagamore Hills. We formed what we called the Fair Districts for Summit County Committee. We developed a redistricting proposal that does some very important things. The first thing we said is that we believe that there should be a nonpartisan commission that does redistricting in the future. What happens right now is county council does this, and then it's voted on a partisan basis. The second thing we said is that we ought to have communities with common interests stay together. So as an example, Bath shouldn't be split. Currently, the Summit County Charter says that townships should be given priority. Unfortunately, that did not happen. And that Bath and Richfield should be together, form the Revere School District. Stowe and Monroe Falls should be together, common school districts. All of Southern Summit County should stay together. And most importantly, communities should not be split other than Akron. So what we did is we developed a plan that would be implemented if this were successful on the ballot in 2016, where there would be 8 county council districts just like we have now, but 3 of those districts would be entirely contained within Akron, and then there would be 5 suburban districts. In fact, I've got a before and after. If anybody would like to talk to me about it, you can see we've got nice little blocks in the after. In the before, there's, in my opinion, it's gerrymandered. We also dealt with the issue of being non-contiguous. Right now, because of annexation, portions of communities are not contiguous, and that language is covered also. I'm in the process of working with well over 100 people to gather 15,000 signatures. We'll be submitting them shortly. And if anyone would have any questions, comments, issues, or anything, would like to talk to me, I'll stick around after the meeting, and I'm very open, as everyone knows here, to talking to residents. It seems like I know half of the people in the room here tonight. Speaking of which, as a lead-in, the next person, I'll let you introduce him, Mayor, but the next person that will be speaking is a young man I've happened to know as a Macedonia resident for the last 18 years since he was born. He graduated from Nordonia Hills High School, and he will be on the ballot this November, and that's John Bruce. Thank you so much.
Sure, and thank you, Bill. All right, John. Come on forward.
Good evening. I'm John Bruce. I'm a resident of Macedonia, and I'd like to thank the council and mayor for letting me speak tonight. And I'm going to be running for the Nordonia Hills City School District School Board for 2016. So I will be on the ballot in November, and I hope that I can help the current school board members and change their view a little bit on things, because I have a unique perspective on what goes on inside the schools themselves, because I was just there for the past 12 years of my life. So I would just like to announce that I am running, and hope I have the support of the community, and thank you.
Thank you, and good luck. All right, that handles it this evening for public comments. So we're going to go right into pending and/or new legislation, starting with ordinance number 52, 2015.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer that we keep ordinance number 52, 2015 at its second reading, please.
Second.
All right, just a little bit of explanation is that this is a very controversial ordinance because you have people who are rewarding their children for their efforts in school and making their children earn the money to buy bikes, and they don't want to be outlawed. Yet there are people in our city that abuse the privilege of having a bike or having a motor vehicle. Now, we've been having several meetings and trying to come up with a healthy compromise that's enforceable. Because you can have any kind of law you want, but if the police can't enforce it, it's kind of useless. So our police chief and myself and a few of our residents have come forward to try and come up with some kind of a compromise ordinance where we would allow the use of these motor vehicles, but not the abuse. So the delay is because we've changed so many things that we're actually going to have another hearing in September for people to voice their opinion, and that date will be forthcoming, or do we have it?
Council will make a motion to hold a public hearing. My question of Mr. Guidetti is this. Your revisions at this point are not an ordinance. For you to have a public hearing on ordinance 52, 2015 again,
All right.
you need to amend the current version of the ordinance. Mr. Guidetti,
Yeah,
explain this
it would be
better.
a motion to amend the Exhibit A to the current ordinance with the committee's version titled Draft 3, I believe.
So
All right.
moved. So moved. Thanks for saying it.
Sure.
So that when I advertise,
Right.
it will be 52 as amended with new revisions. So that the public-
Well, and
Very
the
good.
amendment is to, based on the committee version Draft 3.
Okay.
So it'll be pretty specific. We're amending it to have that added.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh.
I had actually asked that we have another public hearing because this has been, when I look at my notes, this has probably been the topic that we had the most conversation about. We've had a lot of conversation from the residents in our public comment section, and majority, almost all, were on the negative side of passing any ordinance. So this, I think, the committee did a heck of a good job of trying to find some common ground, but also to be able to enable both sides, the user and the person that's listening to or being impacted by these. And this is not just ATV, it's also snowmobiles and off-highway motorcycles. You know, that it gives them an opportunity to have some more dialogue and see, will this work? And it also allows the chief, because our last one, I think we all laughed when Mrs. DeLugo spoke of the fact that the way it was written, we couldn't even move it into the house. And she was right. There wasn't a provision to be able to move the equipment around. So that I have specifically asked that we have a public hearing before we take a vote on it to see, is this okay? Are there any thoughts, ideas, or tweaks? And I think that's appropriate since everyone in this room and in viewing this is impacted.
Would you like to make a motion for September 10th?
Yes, September 10th.
What is it, 7th?
I think
It's the
9th.
10th.
It's the 10th.
I pulled it up already. It is the 10th that we would have the public hearing.
Is that your motion for September 10th? And a second?
Second.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we will have a hearing on the 10th. And we'll see you there, Dave. All right.
Well, I just want to compliment the committee. It was an excellent job to make the adjustments they made.
All right, we're going to move right on to ordinance number 88, 2015.
Don, the only thing I wanted to ask, does Josephine still have to read it? Because Josephine, you didn't get a chance to read it.
If you'd like to hear the title again, it's an ordinance amending section 37503 of the codified ordinances relating to snowmobiles, off-highway motorcycles, and all-purpose vehicles.
Now, moving on to ordinance 88, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 88, 2015 for its second reading by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an EMS billing services agreement with Life Force Management, Inc.
Ordinance 89-2015.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 89, 2015 for its second reading by title only.
An ordinance authorizing an agreement with Cost Recovery Corps LLC in order to provide billing and related services regarding motor vehicle accidents.
Moving on, ordinance number 90, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 90, 2015 for its second reading by title only, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Ohio Attorney General for delinquent debt collections.
Moving on, ordinance number 97, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance 97, 2015 for a second reading by title only.
An ordinance completely repealing existing ordinance section 1171-19 of the codified ordinances, donation boxes prohibited, and adopting a new ordinance 1171-19, which regulates donation boxes and creates a permitting process.
Ordinance 99, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 99, 2015 for its first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance providing for a senior snow removal program for the 2015-2016 winter season.
Ordinance number 100, 2015.
Mayor, I offer ordinance 100, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance authorizing directing the mayor to enter into a contract with Perrin Asphalt Company to perform the emergency pavement repair work on North Freeway Drive.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance 100, 2015.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
And Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ordinance 100, 2015 passes. Ordinance number 101, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 101, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating a fund transfer from general fund to account 101-321-5365 for the transfers to capital fund 401 for road repair and stormwater project, a stormwater project.
And what's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post ordinance number 101, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number 102, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 102, 2015 for first, second, and third reading according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating a fund transfer from general fund to Service Department Fund 201. That's too many numbers there. Must be 354.
Yes.
5440, thank you, for vehicle repairs for entire fleet.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass and post ordinance ordinance 102, 2015, according to law.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Just a little bit of detail with this. We had a meeting last evening to discuss the condition of a lot of the equipment in our service department. Out of 12 trucks right now, we have 2 running. So to maintain our level of service and to be able to repair these vehicles that we use in the wintertime, we need to put repairs into them. So this is re-upping the account to put a little bit of money in there to try and fix some of the problems that we're experiencing right now and deal with that so that we can be prepared for winter. So my vote's yes.
And Ms. Todd?
Yes.
All right. Boy, it's terrible to talk about winter already. All right, we're on 103, ordinance number 103-2015, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 103, 2015 for its first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance appropriating a fund transfer from the general fund account 101-311-5500 for various street light repairs by Ohio Edison.
Ordinance number 104, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 104, 2015 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating a fund transfer from the general fund to administrative communications, computer maintenance, and upgrades, and HR administrative training.
And what's your pleasure?
I move that we pass and post ordinance number 104, 2015 according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
And last but not least, ordinance number 105, 2015.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 105, 2015 by title only.
Second.
Did I say first? Okay, first, second, and
First,
third
second,
reading by
third.
title only.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating a fund transfer from general fund to the Northfield Macedonia Cemetery Fund, 101-312-5360.
And what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 105, 2015.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan?
Yes.
Mr. Mulner?
Yes.
Ms. Tully?
Yes.
See what happens when you have.
And ordinance 105, 2015 passes. Are there any other motions or legislative actions this evening?
Dave.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the service director to go out for contracts for the purchase of 2 trucks suitable for plowing snow and a wheel loader to replace wheel loader number 45, with the understanding that this would not exceed $525,000. As part of the motion, we would entertain a lease of the 2 trucks, but we want to make sure that whatever is accomplished between now and the next council meeting, that we have secured their possession so that we can either purchase or lease them. Council does not want to lease the wheel loader because of the cost of a lease. And in regard to the purchase of the wheel loader, we do not want to trade in the existing wheel loader 45. We want to keep it for additional needs as discussed by the service department last night.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, council. when you're getting trucks to do snow plowing, it's not as easy as walking onto a lot and buying a car. The trucks for snow plowing very seldom come all together. Many times you buy the truck, then you get a body, then you get the plows, then you do all of these things. The city has the opportunity, because 3 trucks are sitting on a lot today. Tomorrow they might be gone. We need 2 trucks. So I'm very appreciative that council has taken this action tonight to ensure that we at least get the ball rolling so we can possibly get 2 of those 3 trucks, which are all that are available in this entire area. And if you don't get them, you're talking 9 months to get a truck. And that, of course, would be next summer, which doesn't do us any good. So thank you very much for that motion. Are there any other motions or legislative action?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer a motion authorizing your approval of a merit increase for the fire chief pursuant to ordinance 117, 2014.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any other motions or legislative actions? Hearing none, we'll move on to correspondence to the clerk, please.
I have just one, sir. Dear Mayor and Council, I'm writing this letter since I'm unable to attend tonight's meeting. The last council meeting, I should identify who this is from. This is Joseph Migliorini. I sat with interest listening to the concerns and issues that surround the stormwater problem at the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Mike Gabriel. I would like to share with you the history of this property and information that I have obtained since that meeting, which may help the city. During the time I was mayor, I dealt with 3 different homeowners at that property as it relates to this situation. The city had taken steps to build an earth dam along the backside of these properties, which apparently lasted quite some time, but due to Mother Nature's fury of the 50 and 100-year floods caused the deterioration of the earth dam that was in place. The subdivision is known as the Indian Creek Village Estates, which was platted sometime in the early 60s. The houses were built along Iroquois Run at the elevation that is lower than Sugar Bush Park by an average of 15 to 20 plus or minus feet. Sugar Bush Park sits on the top of the ledges and is one mass of impervious rock. The subject house, located at 883 Iroquois, was built in 1961 and stands at the rear side of Sugar Bush Park. This subdivision, along with many others built during this time frame, were not required to provide master stormwater grading plans or individual topographic plans for each home that was built. Both the city and the county at that time accepted whatever was presented and allowed houses to be built in areas that should have been designated as either open space or stormwater retention basins. I do agree with the proposed idea of the city purchasing the home or homes as necessary. Therefore, I have reached out to the Army Corps of Engineers / FEMA and the Summit County Emergency Management as it relates to any state or federal funding that would be available in assisting our city and its residents in the alleviation of ongoing stormwater problems. Based on my understanding and conversation thus far, we missed this year's round of funding, but we could possibly have our request and application in for the 2016 funding cycle. Under the Hazardous Prevention Plan, they will fund up to 75% of the cost and city's participation of 25%. I hope you find this information helpful. Joseph Migliorini.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. I have a question for you, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Could you possibly get me a ruling how we do handle discussing the appraisal, because I did receive one today?
Okay.
Would that be an executive session?
Sure,
All
I'll
right.
get you something there.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to move into the mayor's report. I was in Akron today for the Summit County Mayor's Day, put on by the Akron Cleveland Association of Realtors. 7 mayors were there to speak about their communities. The communities were Fair Lawn, Akron, Barberton, Cuyahoga Falls, Greene, Stowe, and Macedonia. All of us were represented there. It's quite an honor to talk about our town becoming a destination city. Actually, it's kind of an honor now to be considered as one of the most talked about communities in the real estate world. We've come so far, so fast. As our infrastructure goes through the final steps of improvement, try and envision what Macedonia will become upon its completion. We hardly remember the 110-year-old railroad bridge that was choking our city just 7 years ago. This temporary inconvenience we are experiencing, and I acknowledge that and apologize for that, but it too shall pass, and it will make our property more and more valuable as that happens. I am forming a new mayor's committee. It will be called the City of Macedonia Veterans Advisory Committee. This committee will be made up of members of the Nordonia Hills American Legion Post number 801. Ken Turley will be chairing that committee. As many of you know, we are presently refurbishing our Memorial Park to make it a more fitting tribute to those who have fought for our country. The committee will be working with me and to ensure the park memorializes those who fought and died so we can enjoy the privilege of our freedom. I'm very grateful for them offering to me their assistance on this project, and then they're going to get involved in future things too. We will be consulting with them for future observances which pay tribute to former or current members of the armed forces. And I really look forward to working with them. Keep in mind, school will be starting August 24th. Be aware, be safe. Our court revenue for the month of July was $34,711.50. We have a service department report. Number 1 on the list again is Memorial Park. The gazebo restoration is nearly completed. Light fixtures are being installed. You'll see them over there. They're working on the light poles, taking current from those light poles, bringing them into the city. As they widen Route 82 to make it 6 lanes there in front of Speedway, we're going to be looking at, can we tap into the water line there to get water in that park? So it's something that's in motion, and we try and work on it as much as we can, having to do the everyday maintenance needed in our city. Sugar Bush Park, the concrete walkway and floor under the pavilion are in with the charcoal grill installed. It looks sharp. You ought to see it. Soil restoration has begun. Stormwater projects, currently 9 catch basins are on a list for tear out and repair. A catch basin is on the newer streets that have curbs. There's stormwater sewers on those streets. The stormwater sewers sit at the top, something that is very similar to what you might call a chimney. Made out of brick, just like a chimney. And over the years, they start to crumble and fall down. And you can actually get a hole in the street where somebody riding a bike or even a car tire could go into that hole. We do this constantly. We're very blessed to have a service department that has skilled technicians and tradesmen that have the capabilities of fixing these in-house, because we need it constantly. I think it's about one of the dumbest designs I've ever seen in my life because of the problems. Sometimes the bricks just loosen up enough to fall in, but that's no good because then they block the storm sewer and we have flooding problems. So all we can do is put it back the way it was, but with our guys, we've yet to have to do another one over again. And it just amazes me, it seems like yesterday we had so many new houses in Macedonia, and already we're getting houses that, oh my God, it's over 30 years, it's over 40 years since those newer houses were put in with the curved streets, and these catch basins are falling in continuously. If you see one and it looks like the grate on that drain is crooked, call us so that we can make sure somebody doesn't get hurt there. Okay, that does it for me tonight, so we'll move on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recognize that we had a Finance Committee meeting last night, which was important to have. I did a report concerning our income tax collection this year, and just received the updated report today, going through the collections through August 15th. And we are in fact in line with the discussion I had with the RETA representative that we will be collecting over $8 million this year in income tax. It'll probably be between $8.2 and $3.5 million, which means that we're right on the median between 2013 and 2015 in the collection process. Our median collection over the last decade has been $7 million, so you can see that we've really, the economy has recovered and we're doing extremely well. We also discussed the 5-year capital plan draft that I've provided to the council members and to the mayor last night. I plan to work through the capital plan to be able to project our continuing need for the capital investment we need in the city, whether it's roads, stormwater basins, repairs, that sort of thing. I do have a 5-year spreadsheet. What I'm going to be doing, I have constructed this based on primarily input from reviewing the previous capital plans that we've had from the departments. With the mayor, I'm going to schedule a set of meetings so that we can refine this plan, and we will be able to look out for the next 5 years what our expenditures need to be. It's very important because we have a lot of last-minute expenditures, and that brings me to the discussion with the service department last night. There's a lot of concern, I think, that we are reacting at the last minute to these things. As the mayor indicated, there's 2 trucks available for us, or 3 actually, but we can only purchase 2. And we're sitting in August, and we need these for snow removal. And it's very fortunate that we have a healthy carryover, so we're going to be able to deal with this. But I will say that longer term, we want to be much more able to project what we're going to need and budget for it appropriately. So I'm going to be distributing the capital plan to the department heads, and then we'll be scheduling a review with each department on what the needs are. So that's about all I have to say about this. But
Sylvia, I'd like to thank you for all the work you put into that. You did a nice job, and I thought it went very well last night. And thank you for all your time.
Thanks to the folks from the service department and other participants. I think we've made progress here. We just need to bring this to closure. And it's my hope that we're going to be able to integrate this capital plan into our regular appropriation process, which is just beginning for the next fiscal year, which is 2016. And then we will be able to see more clearly what we have available for capital expenditure and what we have available for operational. So with that, thank you.
One word to the department heads. You've created a 5-year plan every year since I've started on council. I think we started it. I would ask that you go back and look at those. The service department was requested. I asked them last night, look at their 5-year plan, show what actually has been done. We went through some pretty tough economic times for a couple of years, so that a lot of those were put to the side. But to bring out, dust off the 5-year plan that you had, some of the trucks that we talked about last night were supposed to have been replaced last year or the year before, and were not. So now we're into an emergency state. but take a look at those 5-year plans that you had, update them, upgrade them, and bring them back because it's your plan. Thank you.
Are there any other committee reports? Hearing none, we'll go to department reports. Mike?
Thanks, Mayor. We did a half-year review in the building department. At this time, the home starts were 11, homes under construction 46, 19 alterations. We did 199 point-of-sale inspections, 207 zoning violation letters, 46 noxious weed citations. New construction, we have 5 large construction projects and 21 new occupancies this year, along with 7 alterations in commercial. And that concludes my report.
46 new homes.
Under construction.
Wow. So now you know why the realtors are looking at Macedonia.
Yes.
All right, Angela?
Thank you, Mayor. Believe it or not, the Recreation Department's 9-week summer day camp has concluded as of last week. So we made it through another summer. We had an average of 75 children each week attend our camp, and we once again integrated with Solutions Behavioral Consulting. So we have other counselors, we have children with special needs who are fully integrated into our day camp, and they participated throughout the summer this year as well. So we're very happy about that. We're currently in the planning phases of our fall organized youth sports, primarily youth soccer and youth flag football. Those are almost underway. The 8th annual Movie in the Park, in conjunction with Stone Creek Community Church, is scheduled in Longwood Park on Friday, August 21st. It's a free community event. The movie this year is Home. That starts at 6 p.m. and the movie, they have other activities that'll start at 6 p.m. and the movie will start at dusk. So we encourage people to come out. It's a very popular event. There'll be concessions available. We encourage everyone to bring a blanket, and you can get a nice spot on the ball field. For those of you who may notice our lack of signage at the rec center or at the park entrance, a few years ago, it may have been now, we lost our park marquee sign at Memorial Park due to a traffic accident. We used to advertise programs and city events there. That was not replaced. Our entrance to Longwood Park is currently unusable and beyond repair, so we cannot have interchangeable messages, the individual letters that we used to put up upcoming events. That no longer is usable. And lastly, our recreation center sign, both sides fell off. And they crumbled into a million pieces, and that is beyond repair as well. So we are in the process of seeking approval for replacement signage at the entrance of Longwood Park. So we'll be going to Planning Commission and trying to get some approval, and then we'll be coming to council at that point to hopefully finalize that and get some replacement signage in those areas. Our annual building closing for maintenance is scheduled the week of September 14th. We will be closed through the 20th of that week. Capital improvements scheduled for this year, just to name a few. We are completely retiling our steam room from top to bottom, the walls, the benches, everything in that steam room is definitely in need of repair. So that will be fully retiled this year. New carpeting in designated areas, including inside of our elevator, and then we have some new equipment purchases as well scheduled for that time. So lastly, I just grabbed this piece of mail on my way out of the rec center on my way here, and I'm very excited. This has been over a year in the works to contract with American Specialties Health. This is the company that allows us to be able to provide the Silver and Fit program in our facility. We currently offer Silver sneakers for those of you who are familiar with that. Silver sneakers, both of these companies contract with a lot of health insurance companies. Some cross over and others belong to one or the other. So from year to year, health insurances could jump ship and go to the other company, and a lot of our members in this community then are left without their memberships paid for by their health insurance companies. These are primarily for those 65 and older, and we are now officially contracted to offer the Silver and Fit program. So a lot of people in this area that it mostly affected were Aetna customers. So they will be very, very, very happy. We get asked about this multiple times on a weekly basis, and this has just been a long process. So I'm very excited to put this sticker on our door tomorrow and get this underway. And that is all I have tonight, Mayor.
That's good news. All right, Nick.
Thank you, Mayor. The engineering plans for the Sioux Culvert Replacement Project are complete. The last two items that we are currently working on for that project prior to bidding, one is the permit with the Army Corps of Engineers, which is necessary before you start construction. And the second are 3 of the properties within that work zone are going to require us to get easements. The existing culvert is located outside of the right-of-way. The new culvert is going to be a couple feet longer, so we're going to need stormwater easements for 3 properties, and we'll take care of that before we go out for bids and have a contractor on hook. The roof repair engineering plans are complete. As soon as we have a certificate of plan approval, we will solicit prices from contractors for that project. The Guadalupe Basin, the survey work and the field data has already been collected. The base map's been drawn, which means we're on the engineering side of things right now. So we're about a month away from completing the engineering design for that detention basin. Once we have the design done, we'll have to come to resolution with the property issues, whether that is in the form of an easement granted to the city or whether or not the city obtains the portion of the property necessary before we bid that project and build it. Your crack sealing program is currently being advertised. That's opening tomorrow at 1 o'clock, so that program will be starting as soon as we analyze those bid results and recommend an award of a contract at the next council meeting. The Shepherd Road Sanitary Sewer QBS package is also being advertised right now. Those proposals are due to the city next Friday, I believe the 21st. That's for the sanitary sewer project in that area, Shepherd Road, that currently has a home septic systems that discharge to the roadside ditch. 271, the north ramp on 82, is set for a 52-day closure starting on Monday, on the 17th. At the end of that closure, the new ramp should be open. And State Route 82, Phase 3, contractor set to mobilize at the end of this month. The project basically will be constructed in 3 phases. Simplified version, contractor's going to build some temporary pavement, shift traffic over to the north side. They're going to maintain 2 lanes, one in eastbound and one in westbound at all times during construction. Access to properties will be maintained at all times. When the traffic's on the north side, they'll build the south side, utilities and pavement. Then they'll flip-flop and do the north side, and then the final phase will be the middle pavement, which is going to be a mill and fill. So they'll salvage most of the pavement that's in the middle. So again, that starts at the end of this month, and it's set for a completion in September of 2016. That's all I have.
Mr.
Go ahead.
I had a question concerning the Guadalupe Basin. That is an issue that a lot of the homeowners in the Berkshire and western of Berkshire and south are concerned about because of the very intense rains we've had in the last few months. They have suffered sewerage backup as well as other kinds of backup. Are we anticipating we're going to be able to get that done this year? That's my question.
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yeah, we've already been working on Berkshire they've been out several times shooting the sewers based on a couple requests that I had received from residents on Berkshire. Luckily, it's not my issue, but we've had actually, one of the residents has had a whole sinkhole for 30 years. And that's, so we've been looking, and they've been shooting the sewers and the water basins to see. There was concern that somehow it went from one side of the street to the other. So I'm not sure if we've resolved that issue also, so that we can look at it. That street, there were issues with that street once it was installed. The house, when I purchased it, was a year old, so I didn't know that there were issues, but there were issues with the sand that was used instead of the correct fill underneath the road. So that's caused a lot of issues on that street. That's when, if you drove down Berkshire a couple years ago, it was the speed bump every 3 feet. It was the erosion that was happening underneath the road. Now it's impacting the water and the sewers, so we've got a little bit of everything on that street.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Tim?
Mayor, we're finishing up the fire hydrants in the city with flushing and regular maintenance and painting. So if you see the fire trucks out on your street, that's what we're doing. Be careful driving around them. We're trying to hit 82, but with the traffic there, it's kind of tough, so we'll do that in the off hours. So we're painting the fire hydrants and flushing and maintaining them. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. John?
As Ms. Tully mentioned, our prisoner meal expenses are up. I just sent a text to my jail administrator to find out why. Looking at the board when I come in every morning, I see that we're usually full. We just turned Hudson away yesterday, and I know they were calling again to bring somebody else down, so we've been having a lot of prisoners in there. I asked them to give me a more definitive reason. Is it we're housing more, or we are having more prisoners? So I'm hoping to have an answer for you shortly on that, but we obviously will need more money in that line item. As Nick mentioned, the ramp from 82 to 271 northbound is going to be closed Monday. We will put out a nixle alert on that. I think we're at the point where I hope everybody knows what nixle is and we don't have to keep repeating that, but call the mayor's office, call my office, go to the website, and you can find out what nixle is. A wonderful service. 82, Nick gave me a nice summary of what's going to happen on that for Phase 3. Phase 3 obviously is from just east of Crow all the way to the Twinsburg line. I'm going to try to post that on the Macedonia PD Facebook page so people can reference that. And Nick has promised to give me updates as they occur. Can't think of anything else, Mayor.
Well, that's good, because I was going to talk to you about Nixle, so now we're done. Mark, do you have anything?
No report, Mayor.
No report. All right, we'll move on to any unfinished business. Any new business?
Unfinished business, just one more time. The ramp on 82, no matter how many times you say it, the one entrance to Speedway is closed, so the throughput fast cut through that everyone uses by going through Speedway doesn't exist, but what they're now doing is turning down the road and going then into doggy, whatever, doggy
Tails
daycare.
are wagging, right. I went out and spoke to, I think, Amy today, and fortunately, the ramp is, as I told her, the ramp is gonna close on Monday, and that should alleviate her problem. But it's a never-ending tale. I sat there for 10 minutes and I saw approximately 5 or 6 cars turn around in the lot there. They had some folks from, some of the workers from Ohio State Water Services parking over there. Her customers still had an opportunity to get in. It wasn't as though they were completely blocked, but I could see the issue. I could see the concern. I spoke with her. She seems content with understanding that the ramp's closed on Monday, so this problem should go away.
Do we have, with the ramp closing, is there more signage? Because everyone ignores the sign today that says there's no left turn here. They just go through the cut-through, and then if you're trying to get gas, it gets real dangerous in
Well, they
there.
can't go through that lot anymore, and there is a sign on the ramp, so anybody who's used the ramp for probably last month
And that sign is going to be moved.
I think they're gonna move it down a little bit, but anybody who's gotten on the ramp in the last month should have been able to see that gigantic, illuminated sign, although there are people who, regardless of the fact, they won't be getting on the ramp.
Okay.
So, I don't know if Nick wants to add to that.
I just, as long as we're talking about closures, I failed to mention, on the 82 project, there will be 2 closures. Shepherd Road at the south side will be closed for 60 days, and that's during the first phase while they're building the southern side of the road. And then conversely, when they flip to the north side, there's another 60-day closure for Shepherd Road North. So once they're closer to that portion of the work, we'll make sure everybody's notified in advance.
And Ledge Road Bridge.
Correct. That project, thanks for the reminder, Mayor. I didn't have it on my list. It's tentatively set to begin at the end of this month if they pass their concrete test. So we should know within the next 2 weeks.
By the end of 2016, 82 will be new from the western border all the way to the eastern border and everything in between. But getting there is going to be tough. So our nixle will become vitally important. Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to thank the chiefs for the meet and greet you had at Burlington. As a father of 2 young children, it's always neat to take them into the fire truck, and my 1-year-old absolutely loved the fire truck, crawled all over it, and I saw a lot of kids there that had a lot of fun. It was nice to see the collaboration with the sheriff and the highway patrol, having them there, and, you know, being able to have some firefighters and police out there. So wanted to thank you for that. And I know you got another one coming, and I didn't hear a plug for that, so.
Yes, we do have another one coming. I think it's September, early October. Kenny Turley is in charge of that, Detective Sergeant Ken Turley. We're ordering some supplies. The supplies that we have seem to go extremely quickly. The kids love the little pens and the stickers and the magnets and the badges, and I know Tim's folks have some things, so you may see a purchase order that we're gonna order some more of those things. The kids just love them to death. But yes, that is at Target, or I'm sorry, that will be at Home Depot. And that's a very big one for us. It's just a Macedonia thing. Very big for police and fire. We try to get some of the SWAT equipment up. It's hard to get that equipment up, but we try to get our name penciled in to bring it up. So that is coming up.
Thank you.
Is there any other new business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Josephine, roll call.
Ms. Gerald,
Yes.
Mr. Engel.
Yes.
Ms. Hannigan,
Yes.
Mr. Molnar.
Yes.
Ms. Keller.
Thank you all for coming. Have a nice evening. Go Browns.